Hello, I'm Sam from Cultaholic.com, and this is graded for NXT 205 Live and NXT UK, in which myself and Tom Campbell will take a look at each show, segment by segment, and award each little bit a grade from A+ to F. It's so much of a mouthful now that I've got to mention Tom and NXT UK. So tonight is the big night. We're going to see Drake Maverick versus Mike Kanellis in an unsanctioned match. So without any further ado, let's crack on with it. Hit the intro. So just to reiterate that it's happening tonight, there's a massive hype package that opens up 205 Live before we go to the ring for the first match of the night, which is the Singh brothers versus Tozawa and Kendrick. And the reason for this match, I guess, is pretty simple. The Singhs want their Bollywood award back, Akira. So the bell rings, and as you'd expect, Tozawa and Kendrick make very easy work out of the Singhs. That's not to say the Singhs are completely hopeless, though. Tozawa goes for a dive, and Sunil grabs his feet, tripping him over, allowing him and Samir to start laying it in. But Kendrick eventually gets the hot tag and starts cleaning house. Samir grabs the award from the announce table, passes it to Sunil, gets in the ring. He holds Kendrick in place for his brother to hit him, but Kendrick moves and he nails his brother in the dick with the Bollywood trophy. This allows Kendrick to hit sliced bread, and then Tozawa comes in with the massive senton to pick up the 3. This one gets a C. It wasn't quite the match that I was expecting. I was hoping maybe foolishly for a bit more from the Singhs. We've been seeing a slightly more aggressive side to them in recent weeks, but in this match it was just sort of, that was it. Just 1, 2, 3 done. They were sort of outmatched from the beginning. We then cut to the final part of Humberto's 3-part interview, and he's just being all nice about the current 205 Live roster. He says, of course, his eventual goal is to beat Drew Gulak and take the Cruiserweight title, but he doesn't just demand a shot. He knows that he's got to prove himself in order to get one. And he says that he wants to be the first person in his entire family to hold a WWE title. We then go to Lucha House Party backstage, who compliment Mendoza and Carrillo on their match last week. Lince takes a little bit of umbrage with it though, and he's sort of like, well, no, I think we're better than them, you know? I think they're up and coming, but we are much better. And I think that I could take Humberto one-on-one, and then, and I quote, he says, it will be lucha lit. Just get out. Just get out. We then go to the ring for Ariya Daivari versus Lince Dorado. This one starts firmly on the mat before it heads to flippy reversals, and then Daivari peels out of the ring and starts walking to the back. He doesn't want any part in Lince Dorado's nonsense. Lince drags him back down the ramp though, and he hits a nice step-up moonsault off the apron. Back in the ring, Daivari grounds him and he's trying to work him over, but Lince eventually gets back to his feet and starts off with a massive diving crossbody. Eventually, Lince hits a massive springboard crossbody to the outside, but back in the ring, Daivari seems to be in control. Lince then attempts the golden rewind, but he's caught by Daivari into $1 million or billion real, I see what you did there, Nigel, because he's Iranian, dream. And then Daivari picks Lince up and he manages to wiggle himself free, hits this weird rolling lucha mental thing and gets a pin, just like a roll-up type thing, and picks up the win. The interesting thing though is the referee doesn't notice that Daivari gets his shoulder off the mat in the replay. I'm going to give this one a B. It had a lot of action, it didn't really have a lot of story, but I hope they managed to use this shoulder getting off the mat to at least build to something for Daivari, because it's all like, oh, he wants to get his momentum back, but if you just put him in random matchups, especially against members of the Lucha House Party who sort of just coast around without any real stories, he's just a bit lost. We then cut backstage to Drew Gulak stood in a dark room, and he says that if Mike wins tonight, he'll see him at SummerSlam, but if Mike loses, well then Gulak himself is back to square one, just waiting for a suitable opponent. And then we go to the ring for tonight's main event, which is Drake Maverick versus Mike Kanellis in an unsanctioned match. Drake comes out looking all sheepish to the 205 Live theme, and he is immediately jumped by Kanellis. Kanellis just has his life, beats him down, throws him into the barricade, throws him into the screen, takes him halfway down the ramp, grabs a fan's Pro Maverick sign, hits him with it, rubs it in his face, rips it up, drives him into the screen on the bottom of the ring. It's just really, really nasty. As referees are trying to take Drake away, he pushes them back, he gets in the ring, and the bell rings. The match officially starts. Kanellis stomps a hole in him before asking him if he wants to go and see his people, and then he sends him sailing to the floor and takes him all around the barricades. He says, do you want to take a look at the brand that you're ruining? And he grabs him by the face and starts driving his face into the 205 Live logo on commentary. It's just great. He puts Maverick in one of the announcers' chairs before super kicking him out of it, and then back in the ring, the onslaught continues. It's just systematic destruction of Drake Maverick. It gets uncomfortable to watch because Drake doesn't get a single bit of offense in. We then cut to Maria backstage, who's watching on a monitor smiling as Mike removes Drake's belt and starts whipping him all over the ring with it. Maverick finally gets some offense in. He manages to send Mike to the floor and he goes for a baseball slide, only for Mike to catch him and just like swing him like a baseball bat, I guess, into the barricade. Mike then grabs some of Drake's 24/7 R-Truth posters, which are a bit out of date, from commentary, balls them up and starts choking him with them, just shoving them right into his mouth. And this proves to be the thing that's too much for Maverick. He starts hulking up. He starts getting back to his feet and Mike doesn't know what to do. He takes Mike to the floor, he stomps a hole in him, he grabs the belt and he starts whipping Mike around the ring. He then hits a massive dive, sending Mike onto the announce table. He hits this horrible looking DDT onto the announce table, but when he gets up on the crowd barrier to hit a big elbow, Mike rolls out the way and Drake hurts himself. Back in the ring, Mike goes for his rolling cutter finish, stops, and then goes to the turnbuckle, and it looks like he's going to hit like a top rope razor's edge or something like that, but Drake manages to reverse out of it. He hits his sliced bready finish type thing, and he picks up the win. Drake Maverick has beaten Mike Kanellis. This one gets an A+. It's everything I wanted out of this match. If anybody's doubting Mike after his performance in this one, they need evaluating. He's fantastic. He's so good when it comes to character work. He just needs that behind him. He just needs that little bit of push, and I think this could be the thing that turns him into a mega heel. And all I want out the back of this is for Drake to wrestle with more frequency. Just please. Overall, I'm going to give this week's 205 Live an A-. The main event alone was just worth watching the entire episode for. Drake looks a bit confused about what he's going to do next. Mike looks angered and upset, and Maria just looks pissed off. I can't wait to see where this is going to end. And now I'm going to hand you over to the very capable hands of Mr. Campbell to run down this week's NXT UK.
Keep an eye out for that superintendent. If he sees this, he'll have me life. Oh, hi! I'm Tom Campbell, your NXT UK teacher, and let's dig in to NXT UK. We have a whole new raft of tapings kicking off tonight here in Plymouth, the port city of Plymouth in the UK. And we start with Johnny Saint and Sid Scala in the ring. Johnny Saint, who probably gets one, maybe two lines every month on NXT UK TV. Tonight he got to say, "We're taking over," as he pointed to the NXT UK Cardiff sign. Then Sid Scala gets back on the mic, but he is interrupted by Imperium. Out they come in their lovely matching sports jackets and sports trousers. Wow, you look lovely, lads. Imperium are out, and Volta says, "Is there anybody left to challenge him?" Cue the rip-off version of Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer, and out comes Tyler Bate, who absolutely decimates the entire of Imperium, sneaks up through the crowd, attacks them all one by one, and does it in flip-flops. What kind of hero does it in flip-flops? Tyler Bate, that's who. And they set the match for NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. It's going to be Volta versus Tyler Bate. The Ring General versus the big strong boy. This whole opening segment, bang, gets an A. What a way to establish Tyler Bate as a potential world beater. Opening match, and it's a showcase for Gallus boys. Mark, Coffey and Wolfgang taking on Sam Stoker and Lewis Hurley. Pretty deadly. I like Pretty Deadly, but it's not their time right now because despite the fact they had a couple of really good flourishes, this match was there to really showcase Gallus. Quick order, beat them with a really nice sort of power slam enziguri combo. Lovely stuff. 1, 2, 3 for Gallus. Gonna give this a C. Like, it was fine. It wasn't that exciting a match. It was there to make Gallus look cool. Afterwards, they throw out the challenge to grizzled young veterans for the tag team titles. If they put that on NXT UK Cardiff, it's two heel teams, but you know what? Two very talented heel teams. That could actually be quite a special match on that night. Jordan Devlin is backstage and he is upset that he's been overlooked for this world title match at NXT UK TakeOver. And Sid Scala isn't having any of it when Jordan Devlin's getting all up in his grill. Sid Scala says, "Well, tell you what, tonight you can face Alexander Wolfe from Imperium." I do believe this is former NXT other rosters Alexander Wolfe's first match as a solo performer in the UK brand. Interesting main event for later. Dani Luna taking on Rhea Ripley tonight. I like Dani Luna. I've seen her doing some stuff before. She's from Wales. Hard grafter. Tonight wasn't about her though. Tonight was re-establishing how dominant and powerful Rhea Ripley is. Nigel McGuinness, who by the way is back on commentary. Thank you, Nigel. You have been missed on this show. You really have. Nigel's getting over the whole thing with Piper Niven planting a seed in the head of Rhea Ripley because Piper pinned her. Peter Piper pinned her, Pecker, you get it. And the story there is that Rhea Ripley really needs to get back on track after losing to Piper Niven. They're building to a little thing with them down the road. Couple of nice flourishes from Dani, but this is Rhea Ripley's night. Hits her with a Riptide, 1, 2, 3. This is getting a C as well, boom. Again, fine. Just didn't really. It wasn't a standout match. It was there to serve a purpose, and the purpose was to go. Isn't Rhea Ripley a tough one? It did that. Dave Mastiff backstage chatting to the media scrum. I like how in this day of recording everything on iPhones, this media scrum, it looks very different. We've got like a proper heavy-handed recording device in the corner. We've got a boom mic without the fluff around it. And we've got the old school NXT UK branded mic as well. I like that. Incidentally, the hand holding the NXT UK microphone is attached to one of the best ring announcers in the country. Hi, Jim Smallman. How you doing? Dave Mastiff says that he plans to batter Joe Coffey. I prefer, obviously in American shows you'll go, oh, I'm going to kick their ass. On the American wrestling you go, I'm going to kick their ass. Hearing Dave Mastiff go, I'm going to batter him. I love it so much. We get a video package here of the Toni Storm, Kaylee Ray scenario, and it talks about how Toni Storm and Kaylee Ray used to be friends, how Kaylee took Toni under her wing and they traveled together, they lived in Japan together for a long time, and ever since Kaylee Ray turned up in NXT UK, she's been a bit different, there's been an edge to her, and Toni says that something's not right. Kaylee Ray very mysteriously says, Toni Storm knows what she's done. Toni Storm says that come Cardiff, she's going to retain her title. Kaylee Ray then says, I'm going to win the NXT UK Championship at TakeOver Cardiff. And the last shot we see is Toni Storm sort of staring into the distance and looking down with that element of doubt around her face, like, can she beat Kaylee Ray? Oh, this is an A. This segment is an A. Last time they were on, I gave them a bit of grief for saying I didn't buy into their hatred. I buy into it now. This was excellent. Eddie Dennis, hospital bound in our next bit. His left pectoral has ruptured and he's getting surgery on it. And he talks about the style of wrestling and how the fact that that has changed means that injuries like this are more likely. And as he's laid up post-surgery, he's got the camera on, he's got holding his own camera, and he's blaming the fans. He says all this is the fans' fault. The fans who are entitled and don't know what it's like to do what we do. This is their fault. The fans are to blame. It wasn't an angry, shouty promo. It was just Eddie Dennis, very matter-of-factly, just talking to the camera and saying, fans are to blame. We're getting Piper Niven teaming with Zaya Brookside next week. They're going to take on Ginny and Jazzy Gabbert, the Ginny and Jazzy connection, as only I am calling them. And we're actually going to get Joe Coffey versus Dave Mastiff next week. We're getting Scotland versus the Black Country next week. I'm very excited. Main event o'clock already. The Irish ace, Jordan Devlin, takes on Imperium's Alexander Wolfe. This is, I do believe, the first time we've seen Wolfe in solo competition in a while. It's like Wolfe went to WXW a few months ago and turned up as a surprise guest. And the whole crowd went, oh! Well, they made that noise collectively. And WWE went, oh, maybe he's a thing in Europe. Maybe we'd send him there instead. Let's take him off of US television. Let's put him over there. Good move. So this was really Wolfe dominating Devlin for a big part of this match, working over the ribs of Jordan Devlin. And there's one scene where he's got Jordan Devlin in an abdominal stretch, and he's scratching his nails up the side of Jordan Devlin. It looks grim, but I really like that as a bit. We had punches, slaps, boots, headbutt combinations. We saw Jordan Devlin flying across the ring and nailing a picture-perfect Spanish fly for a 2.9999999999999. We saw Alexander Wolfe hit an unreal German suplex and get a 2.9999999999999. And then the finish came almost completely out of nowhere as Devlin is still recovering from this injury to his ribs. He goes for a moonsault, misses it when Wolfe rolls out of the way, eats a boot from Alexander Wolfe, and then a massive sit-out powerbomb for the 1, 2, 3. Giving this match a B. It started off a bit slow, but in the last 4 or 5 minutes, they just go into absolute high gear. And also, I enjoyed the NXT UK crowd in Plymouth singing a Jordan Devlin song to the tune of This Girl by Kungs vs. Cooking on 3 Burners. I haven't heard that in wrestling before. It's a good song, that, as well. So the show ends with Tyler Bate getting right up in the face of the camera, talking directly to Volta. Really, really menacing, saying, I'm going to embarrass you. I'm going to make you look like a novice at NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. This new edge to Tyler Bate is so refreshing. Like, Tyler Bate's always been a great wrestler, but he's now just got this anger about him, and he's bulked up a bit more. He was already a beefy, big, strong boy, but now he's a bigger, stronger boy, and he's got beard action as well. And he just has this air of intensity about him that really works. Really like this little bit to end off the show. Overall, I'm giving this week's NXT UK a B. I thought we have a lot of good direction towards Cardiff now. We have a very distinctive set of matches that we are very distinctively building to. And that Tyler Bate reveal at the very beginning was just phenomenal. I'm excited for a good couple of weeks of NXT UK TV as we head to Cardiff. Yaki-da, yaki-da, Dakiya. Right, I can see Sound Driver's just leaving the teacher's lounge now, so I shall hand you back to him for NXT, the American version. I love you, bye.
Thanks for that, Tom. And now we move on to NXT, where we go straight to the ring for Tyler Breeze versus Jaxson Ryker of the Forgotten Sons. But once that bell rings, Ryker puts his obvious strength and size advantage to good use. He just batters Breeze all over that ring, just has his absolute life. Breeze occasionally fights back valiantly, but he keeps being put in place by the human fridge that is Ryker. There's a massive pendulum backbreaker from Ryker before he lays in the strikes and takes things to the mat. But Breeze is able to use his speed to overcome Ryker's size, nailing him with a super kick and then getting the pin on a roll through. Post bell, the Sons viciously beat him down, and who is going to come to the aid of Tyler Breeze? Oh, it's just the humanity. He's having he's getting stomped all over, he's getting punched. And then the crowd go a bit mild, and then they realise who it really is, and they go mental, and it's Fandango. Fandango comes down, clears house, and the pair stand tall. I'm going to give this one an A. There wasn't really much more you could want out of this one. Ryker still looks like a massive monster, which I want to keep happening because he's just so naturally threatening when you look at him. Breeze looks opportunistic and sort of like he's got better ring mentality than quite a lot of people, and Fandango returned. We then keep it in the ring for the second semi-final of the breakout tournament, and it's Bronson Reed versus Cameron Grimes. Reed starts by using his size and weight to keep Grimes grounded, but Grimes manages to use his speed to his advantage, trapping Reed when he's trying to get back in the ring and grinding him to the mat. There's a very close near fall where Grimes just gets his foot on the rope, and it was very, very perfectly done. And then the finish to this one was something really quite innovative. I really, really liked it. So Reed did that thing where he plants his opponent on the ropes, he runs into that rope, bouncing them back into the ring, and he's going to connect with maybe like a clothesline or something like that, but instead Grimes just nails him with a massive running double stomp. It looked vicious, it looked brutal, and it was enough for him to pick up the 3. But I'm only going to give this one a C+, because it sort of came from nowhere. The finish came from nowhere. The match didn't really feel like it had got up and running, and then it just sort of ended. But the final should be amazing. It is Jordan Miles versus Cameron Grimes, so we've got that to look forward to at least. We then cut to one of those earlier today promos, and Matt Riddle's asked about Killian Dain, and he's like, oh yeah, you want to make an impact by jumping me from behind. Why don't you do it to my face, make an impact that way? And that match is set up for next week. We then go back to the ring, and out comes Shayna Baszler. She calls out Yim for attacking Duke and Shafir, and she's like, this isn't the street, this is professional level fighting. She promises that she's going to put Yim to sleep sleep at TakeOver, and then Yim comes out, and she puts Shayna firmly on notice. Shayna then just sort of looks at her, brushes her off, calls her street trash, and walks to the back with her belt. We then cut to the car park, and Candice LeRae is outside. I should probably note that earlier in the episode it's alluded to the fact that Candice has been hanging around outside of Full Sail all night. William Regal then comes up to her and he's like, I know what you're waiting for, and I've barred her from the venue. Io Shirai isn't here tonight, so you're not going to get your hands on her tonight. Just go home. And she's like, well, if I can't get my hands on her tonight, I want her at TakeOver. And Regal's like, okay, if you want her at TakeOver, you've got her at TakeOver. Now go home. And then we go back to the ring for tonight's main event, which is Roderick Strong versus Pete Dunne. This one starts out catch wrestling heavy, and with both guys being ex-partners, it's quite clear they have each other scouted. Strong does manage to keep Dunne at arm's length with strikes, though he dishes out a lot of punishment, including just putting him in the corner and stomping him into oblivion. Eventually, Dunne manages to outpace him, and then he pins Roddy's fingers to the floor, and this is important because it's going to be something that affects the whole match. He does that thing where he viciously stamps on the elbow with the trapped hand, and it just goes like, ugh. It looks all horrible. The thing is, he doesn't leave it there because he follows it up with a PK to the exact same elbow, meaning that Roddy's arm is about to drop off. So Roddy, with only one hand, starts to play dirty, grabbing Dunne by the hair and choking him on the rope. He attempts a superplex only for Dunne to drop him on his face, and then Dunne hits an X-plex and follows it up with another PK. When Roddy peels out the ring, Dunne climbs the turnbuckle, I guess attempting to go for a moonsault or something off the rope, but Roddy grabs him and plants him spine first into the apron. And then both men just start slapping the absolute piss out of each other until we get to the corner and Dunne attempts a sunset flip bomb, but he accidentally drops Roddy into his knees, and it looked awful. It looked like it must have hurt a lot. Dunne then goes for his finish. Roddy connects with a tiger driver, and then Dunne traps him to the mat and breaks his fingers, and Roddy immediately pins, and I love this. It's why it gets an A. I love that the finger snap ended the match as it should. He's just broken Roddy's fingers in half. He should want to tap out after that. Oh, also Velveteen Dream emerged, and Dunne just snapped his fingers and hit his finish on him as well, so it's just one of those, just attack everybody type things. But yeah, Dunne looks strong. Roddy looks like an idiot because his whole plan here was to take Dunne out, and all he's done is injure his own arm. And this triple threat is going to be utterly insane. Overall, I'm going to give NXT this week an A-. It was a really strong week. We had Dango making the save, the breakout finals sorted, Shayna is going to absolutely destroy Mia Yim, and we can move on to a new feud. And then we had that utterly amazing main event, and to top it all off, next week we've got Matt Riddle going one-on-one with Killian Dain. NXT's foot is firmly back on the accelerator in the build-up to Toronto, and things are only going to get a bit crazier next week. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter @Cultaholic. You can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you like what we do here at Cultaholic, you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Cultaholic. And no matter what you do, don't ever forget to hit subscribe and join us.